May 21st, 2011 marked the 42nd annual Davis Double Century, a 200-mile bike ride through several Northern California counties. This is one of the largest double centuries in California, attended by over 600 riders. First stop for riders is check-in, held this year at Central Park in Davis.
Entry number 9, 28th Double Century.
The ride begins early Saturday morning, and around 5 o'clock, people start gathering and looking for friends, trying to hook up for someone for the early morning hours on the flats of Yolo County.
Forward halfway to the right. Face down and we'll switch off.
The first 40 or so miles of the ride are pretty flat, heading north from Davis and then back down south into Winters. From there, it starts heading up into the hills of Napa County. Rest stop 1 is at the Farnham Ranch, about 23 miles out. We'll be back here later on because it doubles as rest stop 8 later in the day. Just after Winters, the flats are over and the hills begin. The first climb goes to the top of Monticello Dam. Then we climb Cardiac Hill, one of several signature climbs along the route. Ahead of me here is Craig Robertson, one of Northern California's best long-distance riders. Rest stop number 2 at Moskowite Corners is about 56 miles into the course. Moskowite is a small outpost near the shores of Lake Berryessa. This next part of the course is one of the nicest on the ride, through the wine-growing regions of the Hope and Childs Valleys, part of Napa County's backcountry and not seen very much by tourists who tend to focus on the Napa Valley itself. stop 3 is at the historic Pope Valley Grange Hall. The building, by the way, began life about 30 miles away as a bottling facility at the former Etna Springs Resort, where they used to bottle mineral water from the springs there. And a few miles past Pope Valley is a historic Hubcap Ranch, a California historic landmark and an outstanding example of folk art. "95 miles into the ride is rest stop 4 at Middletown High School. If the riders here look a little nervous, it's because the 8-mile climb to the top of Cobb Mountain is coming up right after this rest stop. It's only about 8 miles from Middletown to Cobb Mountain School, the next rest stop, but it's probably the toughest 8 miles on the entire ride. The road gets steeper as it goes up, topping out at about 2 miles of 11% grade just before the rest stop. And here's the rest stop at Cobb Mountain Elementary School. The climbing isn't quite over, but the worst of it is, and once you hit this point, the rest of the ride is much easier. And here's Davis's own Susan Gishi. Susan holds Rusa number 19 and has completed the famous Paris-Brest-Paris ride many, many times. Lunch on the Davis Double is actually a little more than halfway. You're 117 miles in when you hit the high school at Lower Lake near Clear Lake. Lower Lake High School is a great place to relax on the grass, have some lunch, and get ready for the next signature climb of Resurrection Grade. Until the introduction of Cobb Mountain a few years ago, Resurrection was probably the hardest climb on the ride. It's still tough, but it's probably in second place now after the major climb of Cobb, but it's still quite difficult, especially on hot years. It's exposed, there's no shade, and it just goes up and up for a long time. When you see the oasis, you're almost there. That's the last piece of Resurrection off there in the distance. There really is nothing at the top of Resurrection. Everything you see here, including the tents, the food, and the water, has to be trucked in just for this event. The next section of the course follows Cache Creek and then goes down into the beautiful Capay Valley, one of California's most beautiful agricultural settings. Rest Stop 7 is at the Gwinda Fire Station. It's about 163 miles in. On very hot days, or very hot years, they have wading pools here for the riders to cool your feet off. You didn't really need them this year. Temps are quite comfortable, probably in the upper 70s, maybe around 80 degrees at the very hottest. Rest Stop 8 finds us again at the Farnham Ranch, this time 181 miles into the ride. The last 20 miles or so into Davis are dead flat, but as often happens, we had to fight headwinds this year. Headwinds going south, crosswinds going east.
Hi, sweetie. Hey. I'm just gonna say, I got as soon as I could.
And so another Davis double is in the books. Great weather this year. Temperatures were warm but not hot, not too cold in the morning. Another fantastic job by the Davis Bike Club, and I hope to see them again next year for my 29th DC. See you then.